how do we measure that eligibility? How do we get
First
to
of
that
all,
point?
Bob, we have to get a doctor that says you're sick
yes.
enough to go into a long-term care facility.
Yes.
And those are called ADLs, assisted daily living. And we know what those are: bathing,
Activities of daily living.
Activities of daily-
clothing, just
Feeding yourself.
feeding,
Yeah.
walking, driving. So at that point, you're extremely limited, and the doctor says that person would benefit from that long-term care, that
Right.
attention, 24/7.
Yes.
And then you have to be 65, I think you mentioned that. You have to be a citizen, a resident of the estate, and then the income eligibility, that's going to vary from state to state, correct?
Income is where a financial advisor makes their money.
Okay.
And that legal advisor, that counsel, because those are the two issues. Those are what we call the tripping points, the
Yes.
income and asset.
Yes,
Categories.
It's so interesting. You know, these steps are very well defined. They're very well defined: sickness, age, citizenship. Of course, we've already talked about this. Residence, and the only variable is the income. Are those the income of the person that needs that long-term care.
And I think David had said somewhere, you know, there's a difference between if you're a single individual or married, but we could sort of, as a general rule, think about $2,000. For a married couple, it might be a little more. For a single individual, it might be a little less.
Yeah, the day you go into that nursing home covered under Medicaid, you can't have more than $2,000 to your name.
And that's kind of like that income test. Is that what you're talking about when they?
Well,
they
that's
say,
just even the asset test. If your income is over a certain level, you can be disqualified for Medicaid. So typically, and what we keep reinforcing on this show is when you've worked with your legal counsel, the legal counsel will know the state income for limits for wherever you live.
Yes.
They'll know the asset test. They'll put together the proper, what we call qualified income trust for that money to be paid into. They'll have that trustee distribute that money accordingly. If you have a spouse at home, that spouse will continue to be paid the nursing home. So the last thing we want is for that nursing home patient is to have that check going just to the nursing home. We want that check to go to a qualified income trust.
Right. And this is a very good time for me to say to everybody who is
Yes.
listening again, because we're going to get into
Yes.
some real specifics about now. I think my next question is going to be talking to David about the asset test. But please, if anybody listening to this has questions, we're not giving legal advice today. We're giving examples. Just like the last program, we were just giving a general discussion. If you have legal questions, talk to your legal advisor.
Yes,
Bob, we
very
don't
good
work
advice.
on a case without an attorney.
Okay, good.
This is something we do in cooperation with the legal community, or else it just doesn't work.
And I think it's important that if you're doing it with the legal community and the lawyers are talking to the clients and you're helping out the clients, I mean, it's a win-win. I just don't want anybody listening thinking we're giving them legal advice and run off and say, I can do this, that, or the other thing. Every case is different. Everybody has to go talk to
There's
their
a lot
lawyer.
of people out there manage their own investments. That's fine. I'm a financial advisor. I understand that. But this isn't something you want to try on.